Dante, you know what? Let's even show further up here, because you can see up on this side of the mall, which I don't believe we've shown you yet live, there are first responders lining the street that direction, making sure that anyone trying to come in this way cannot, and they can be kept out. The folks you can also see lined up. We believe that all of those folks were inside the mall at the time that this shooting happened. Well, let's go back and show this group of people, this group of employees within the mall that are still waiting to go home. As I was mentioning, there are people that were inside the food court that we talked with earlier just off camera, and they were mentioning how difficult of a moment it was as they saw people jumping over countertops in the food court, hiding behind whatever they could to get to safety. It's moments that no one wants to imagine, and certainly when those folks went to work today, they were not imagining it. They described, and everyone I've talked to so far has described, a almost countless number of shots, some estimating 40, 50. These are not folks that are accustomed to hearing that level of gunfire. Frankly, no one is. And so when they heard that, everyone we talked to finding different places to hide. But let's take a look at this scene right now. You can see the chief is in conversation with some members of his staff. Right next to him is one of his public information officers, trying to get all the information out and detailed to everyone else. We can see also to his left, walking in right now, is Sheriff Richard Coleman. Now approaching the scene, the sheriff shaking hands in the blue quarter zip with some of the members of the Savannah Police Department staff. Sheriff, is there any way we could get some information from you? Obviously, the sheriff is going to have a lot of work to do here. We will try to talk to him. Of course, we know he is working with the Savannah Police Department. Don, Shelby, as you guys are describing it, it's a really difficult scene out here, but what I can tell you is that the people that are out here are coming together. We just had a first responder walk by with a case of water. Sante, actually, let's show this gentleman, because these are the kinds of moments that show how strong Savannah is, right? This is a first responder that has been going through a lot over the last few hours, that's been out here responding, talking to people, trying to treat people, presumably that have been around this area, and he's walking around this parking lot. He just came out of the mall with that case of water, handed me one, handed our photographer Dante one, as well as the rest of the media crews out here. And it's one of those moments we talk about all the time. Whenever we see the worst kinds of things happen, it brings out the best in people. It's two sets of families still have their two daughters inside the mall as they were working in there today, and they're waiting for their release. They're not the only ones in this parking lot. As a matter of fact, let's just show you that there are still people in this parking lot still out here tonight. We know that we are more than 2 hours removed from when this shooting happened, and you can see that there are folks over here to my right. These folks, we believe, were working inside the mall and are still awaiting a pickup after their shift, after that shift ended, a way that, of course, they could not have possibly imagined. We actually have a Savannah Police Department forensics truck that has just pulled up. Let's get you guys an angle of that. That truck right there, it says Savannah PD, and then the top of the letters on the next word are cut off. That says forensics. This is a forensics unit. You can see two officers getting out of that vehicle at this time and opening the door. Let's get closer to that, Dante. Let's see what we can see here. Dawn, it looks like people are now being released from the mall. This is one of, we believe, the last groups to be released from the mall. They're sending them into two separate lines before they can be reunited with the loved ones and the family members that they have here. This is in between the Macy's, the H&M, the food court, and the Versona. The Oglethorpe Mall entrance on this side, on the opposite side of the new apartment complexes that are going up out here at the Oglethorpe Mall. You can see first responders, folks with Savannah Fire vests on, audibly asking people, are you all right? Is everyone all right? He just said, just trying to listen in, does anyone need medical attention? If so, raise your hand. I'm seeing no one raise their hand. That's a good sign. Shay, they just cleared out and let go a big group of people that were inside the mall. This is Patricia. She was one of them. I can't imagine how difficult of a night this has been for you. Talk to us about how you're feeling right now that you're finally out of the Oglethorpe Mall.
Thank God.
Are we live right now, guys? Can someone tell me? All right, we're live right now again. I just had to come back to you because right after we finished that incredible interview with Patricia, our Aaron Dixon has been out here working the scene as well. Aaron, what did you, we are live right now, Dante, yes. What did you just tell me?
So some people that had just gotten out of the stores, they were kind of walking around the scene, and they looked under these two cars that's behind us here, and they saw a bullet.
Okay, point to Dante, and we can show where this is happening,
so
Dante.
They're investigating right here where it's triangled off here.
And this is just something that people told you who were here. You guys need us to move away. We can certainly do that. I appreciate you guys. Absolutely. Wherever you need us to be, we will be. That is something that, folks, I have to say, I was ready for a lot tonight. I was not ready for us to be standing directly next to, especially now. Dante, let's show what's going on as we walk backwards. I'll help you walk backwards, Dante. But Aaron, I want to come back to you. Okay, just so we have this clear, tell everyone exactly what you were told by folks who were in the area. Okay, did they tell you that it was a single bullet, multiple bullets, anything like that, any kind of detail?
They said, they told me singular bullet. They just saw a singular bullet.
Okay, and that is, again, just what folks here sitting in the parking lot that we've been standing in for hours saw underneath a car, at least what they say they saw. We can't confirm that with police just yet, but what we can tell you and show you is that since Aaron brought us that information, the police have extended the crime scene around the car that those folks were talking about seeing a bullet underneath. That's safety right now. Let's talk about that, because the Chief Gunther, when we spoke with him a few hours ago, said at that point there hadn't been any arrests. Has that changed?
The matter's still under investigation there.
Just to clarify, because I have to ask the question again,
Absolutely.
have you heard of any arrests, or are these shooters at large at this time?
I haven't been informed directly.
Okay.
I've spoken to Chief Gunner and Mayor Van Johnson a little earlier, but right now I have not been updated. However, as Sheriff, they will update me on what's going on.
All right, Sheriff, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yes, sir.
Of course. That's Sheriff Richard Coleman of Chatham County making his way around the scene, as he has for hours now. Sheriff Coleman saying that he doesn't really have any updated information on what happened here or if there have been any arrests just yet, but he did reiterate what Chief Lenny Gunther said about there not being a threat right now to the public. What that means, we don't know. We don't have any information on if there have been arrests. But of course, just as I had to press the sheriff there, we will continue to press the Savannah Police Department, with which Sheriff Coleman pushed us to for that information. As they are leading this investigation, we will be asking them those questions to bring you answers.
The full picture shows the true force of Tropical Storm Debbie. 3 Jasper County residents feeling that force more than most as they were in this car when this road disappeared. This crescendo has been building. People coming more and more and more, expecting something to happen, but not truly knowing when it would. So when we walked into that courtroom just an hour ago, there was no anticipation that it would be the verdict. Of course, we now know Alec Murdaugh guilty on all 4 counts. I'm going to show you this boat landing getting extremely close to the water right now as these waves come up and crash into the bamboo they've set here. Only thing remaining from this crime scene is the tattered police tape tied around this tree. There were people scattered around the area, and a red Ford Mustang sitting right here with its back windows shut out. Up top, it stands with sheet metal now wrapped around it. Listen how solid this sheet metal is. That now has been folded around this tree almost like paper. They are fully stocked. We've got jackets, we've got polos, we've even got some very fashionable skirts that I personally am not going to throw on, but hey, maybe the lady in your life wants one of those. They got all kinds of options. And like he just said, the fact that Thursday was a day that felt like a Saturday is absolutely unheard of. And so is this right now. Let's show you what this still looks like inside this merchandise tent. We're piecing together pictures from inside one of the stores, along with some of the details from the sheriff's office report, to figure out that this hole right here inside the fitting room of the Salty Dog is how thieves got into the sunglass hut to steal 1,600 pairs of sunglasses worth an estimated $1 million. At first, they're going to have to make their way through these like they're a football player, if they can. Then, right down the first slide and into the ball pit. You know what? Hopefully your kids are a lot more coordinated than me and they get into that slide. Anyway, there's no way that wasn't the greatest moment in the history of live television. They're still actively searching for this missing F-35. I called the Marines in the last hour as well, and they tell me the same thing, that their search efforts are continuing and that they have no updates beyond that to give us. All of that frustrating Congresswoman Nancy Mace, who represents this whole area and district, saying that she now has questions about the investments into these planes. Maybe the only thing cooler than the car is who we've got with it. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, First Lady Marty Kemp.
How incredible is this today in Savannah?
Oh, unbelievable. 200 years, great celebration, great weather, and, you know, it's great for our economy.
Absolutely is. And Governor, I'm not going to ask you to pick a favorite child or city, but we know Savannah on St. Patrick's Day doesn't get any better than this in the state of Georgia or country. This rally started just about a half hour ago. We just moments ago had a moment of silence, and now we're into prayer. I want to show you what the crowd looks like out here tonight. As I counted, just about 200 folks gathered outside the Savannah Civic Center with shirts, signs, and flags. You can hear these dogs barking. What they're doing is they're bringing them in, doing inventory, and they'll do a bath with each and every dog right there. You can see some of the staff is walking through working with these dogs. Then after that, the dogs get taken up that hallway and through a series more to get their shots, their vaccines. And once they've gone through all of those steps and they're dewormed, things of that nature, they're brought here and we get something like this adorable female dog. Now it's completely rebuilt, renovated, and ready for people to move in soon. The thing is, though, the remnants of Tropical Storm Elsa still in this backyard. We've got shards of glass.
Who are you people? Most of you look like you've never worked a single day in your life. Not like that man in the picture over there. That's Henry Willink. And believe me, ain't a one of you here would want to be in his shoes, and I'll tell you why. Because he's been dead for over 140 years. That's why. Yeah, longer than I've been dead.
11 months of the year. Richard Chile works here, but that 12th month is
Merry Christmas, folks.
a bit different.
From one extreme to the other, I guess.
Each December, he's Father Christmas,
Come on.
bringing cheer and joy to kids
What do you want for Christmas?
of all ages.
Where y'all from?
But as a ghost, the story is different.
And he wrestled with it and wrestled with it.
And he's done more than 6,000 shows.
My late wife used to tell me to act my age, and I used to tell her, I've never been this old before. I don't know how I'm supposed to act.
Chile does know how he's supposed to act here. Crabby and mean. But he hangs that up when the red suit comes out.
Everybody has bad days, but for me, when I put the suit on, that all goes away. I'm Santa, I'm happy, and I'm glad to see everybody.
He might be the only Santa who's also the ghost of Christmas present.
Cheeseburgers.
But there was a time it wasn't all jolly when his wife passed just after Christmas 2 years ago.
I was concerned as to whether I was even going to be able to do my Santa Claus. And she said, no, you've got to.
This was her favorite time of the year. Richard telling me now she's with him every time he puts on the suit.
She loved Christmas. Could never get her to be Mrs. Claus, but she loved Christmas.
He's hoping to help folks love the holiday that same way, even if they're getting coal in their stocking. With every wave, Chile knows he's making his Christmas spirit proud.
I'm sure she's smiling that I'm still doing it.
And he has no plans to stop anytime soon, either as Santa by day,
Oh, my goodness.
or scary by night. Mike, Philip Beach suspicious of the investigation that was supposed to bring his grieving family justice. I combed through hundreds of documents just like this boating accident report and hours of footage to look through the evidence behind his feelings.
Did they find Mallory?
February 24th, 2019.
Picture of Blue James was sitting on her boyfriend's lap when they hit the bridge at a high rate of speed.
The frantic moments after a 19-year-old went missing.
We hit a bridge in the boat. We can't find Mallory, Mom.
That's the voice of Mallory's boyfriend, Anthony Cook. News of the crash making its way to her father a few hours later.
He told me what happened. It was an accident and they were looking for her, and then that was my whole world just, my heart just dropped.
The law enforcement response was vast.
Last name Beach, Bravo Echo, Alpha Charlie, Hotel. First name Mallory.
But they wouldn't find her for more than a week.
She was a loving, caring person. She had a passion for less fortunate people and, neglected and stray animals.
The investigation began right away. Officers trying to figure out how this boat hit a bridge. Launching Mallory overboard leading to her death.
What about the driver of the boat? She 21?
No.
Has everybody on the boat's been drinking?
Yeah.
That fact seemingly obvious to law enforcement on scene. In legal interviews later, multiple officers describing some of the people on the boat as highly intoxicated, specifically Paul, Mallory's boyfriend, confronting Paul in the moments after the crash.
Oh, you just smiling like it's funny.
Sit down, sit down.
My girlfriend gone, bro. You think it's funny?
Cook told officers Paul was the last person he saw driving the boat, meaning the driver would have been intoxicated when they crashed. Mallory's father, Philip, telling me that's where his eyebrows start to raise. Here's the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources boat accident report. In this section, where an officer would list what contributed to the accident, alcohol is not checked. Later in that same report, the primary cause of the accident is listed as no proper lookout. The secondary cause, excessive speed. Alcohol, yet again, nowhere to be found. I asked Philip if he felt the investigation into his daughter's death had been mishandled.
Absolutely, absolutely, without a doubt.
How does that make you feel?
Betrayed. As a citizen of South Carolina, betrayed by the ones that were sworn in to protect us.
Our WTOC Investigates team looked through hours of dashcam video and hundreds of pages of documents we got from the Beach family attorneys, including a deposition with the lead SCDNR investigator the night of the crash, Michael Brock. We called Brock, who now works at the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. Although Brock himself said he wanted to interview with us, his agency shut that down, telling WTOC, quote, "SLED is not available for interviews at this time." We also requested an interview with the agency he worked for in 2019, SCDNR, who answered our questions via email. While Brock was the lead investigator the night of the crash, his deposition revealed that didn't last long. DNR saying upon determining his wife's position as a paralegal for the Murdaugh law firm the next day, he was moved to a support position and taken off as the lead investigator to avoid any conflict of interest concerns. Mallory's father telling me none of that was revealed to him until their attorneys started digging.
As far as we know, and we're being told that there were some things that appeared to be covered up, and we want to know if there's any truth to it.
The Beach family attorneys pressed Brock about his relationship with the Murdaughs. A part of page 96 from the condensed deposition transcript reads, "You can see how people, given the fact that you were removed from the case, do see the conflict, how that doesn't look good?" Brock responds, "Sure." The attorney, "What do you say to those people?" Brock, "In error." Mallory's dad saying because it involves the Murdaughs, he's not surprised.
I knew without God intervening that we didn't have a prayer, we didn't have a chance because of who we were up against. I knew this family's influence on others.
His daughter's boyfriend had similar thoughts on that night 5 years ago.
Y'all know Alec Murdaugh?
Oh, yeah, I know that name.
That's his son.
That's so driving the boat?
Good luck.
No matter who was driving, the boat that crashed was
Registered to a Alexander Murdaugh out of Arlington.
Philip, saying he wants accountability beyond the owner of the boat.
They're looking for a scapegoat and they're using Alec for it. They're grown men and women that knew what they were doing. If they were influenced by someone, then that was their wrong.
We brought that concern to SCDNR, who was the lead agency on the case. They tell WTOC, "We stand by our investigation of this accident. While there are always things to learn and improve on, no evidence of any impropriety has been found or brought to our attention. It is important to note that both SLED and the AG's office assisted and were actively involved in this case beginning in March of 2019. I asked the State Attorney General's office if they're investigating the initial DNR investigation. They tell me, per office policy, we cannot confirm or deny any investigation that we may or may not be conducting or looking into. Mallory's dad saying it's a lack of answers that makes it appear the legal system isn't working for them.
After the sentencing, Attorney General Alan Wilson approached us and introduced himself to us. He made it clear to us that he wanted to come down and meet with us, and he wanted to talk about Mallory's situation. And that was back in, I think, the first part of
That was March 3rd, 2023.
2023, correct. And we haven't heard from him or anyone from his office.
Through all of these troubles, Philip Beach believes his daughter's death has actually led to some good, helping expose Alec Murdaugh's financial crimes and putting a spotlight on underage drinking. Just about everyone these days shares pictures when they travel. Our character here is no different. The difference here, this story isn't just about a 5,000+ mile trek across the country and back.
Let's go ahead and take this ride on in. See you on the other side.
This story is about an even longer journey our biker has taken.
Hi, my name is Andrea. It's Andrea Smith Brown. They call me Fearless.
To understand Fearless, we have to go back before she was cruising all over the U.S., when life wasn't exactly a joyride.
Before the pandemic, I was kind of a mental mess. I do have PTSD. I'm a vet with the Army. I did 7 years in the Army, and I got out because of my PTSD.
She wasn't deployed, but instead says that PTSD was a result of military sexual trauma, known as MST. She's been healing from it for decades, but found a breakthrough in her emotional recovery on the road.
My safe place, imagine that. My safe place is riding this motorcycle, which everybody always say that's the most dangerous thing you could be doing. But once I'm on this motorcycle, I am in a very safe place within my mind and just my spirit. I'm okay.
She didn't expect that when she started, describing the wind therapy on this bike as free therapy.
Coming to meet you today, I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to stop.
Thankfully, she did, so we could talk about how she didn't for 2 weeks in May.
Just had my first Red Bull of the day. Breakfast of Champions.
Andrea rode all over the country, ingrained in that wind therapy at high speeds, and finding time to slow down with a smile and dance at stops in between. Sometimes, though, the journey brought a challenge worthy of her fearless nickname. Off to the left here is Pikes Peak in Colorado, and this is Andrea's view, not even at the top, more than a dozen miles later.
I'll be honest, the last mile I cried, all the way up to the summit. I cried, because I was scared. The wind gusts, there's no guardrails, and it's just straight mountain.
Through the tears, she earned that nickname, conquering the summit more than 14,000 feet in the air on the bike she uses as the vehicle for her fearless healing.
I am very proud of myself that I did not completely lose it and, try to stop and turn around and all that. I did complete it.
From there, it was off to California to start another challenge, the Interstate 10 end-to-end.
I made it.
Over the next few days, she'd take the same interstate more than 2,400 miles by herself, updating her supporters back home all along the way.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Fearless tells me she's one of just 16 people to complete the I-10 end-to-end solo, finishing in Jacksonville.
I think I would have went even further if the ocean wasn't there.
With riding as her remedy, wanting to make a trip unimaginable to the rest of us even longer is within the lines of her logic. This 60-year young veteran feeling more secure on one of the most dangerous objects in the world than she had the decades before she rode one.
If you want to get into riding and are thinking about it more seriously after watching Andrea's journey, just head to this story on our website. It'll be up in about the next half hour. Fearless will have a tip for you on a way that you could get started.